Hey, 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 welcome to another episode of Water Fed Wednesday. Real quick, before we get going, I want to make sure our friends on Instagram are up and running. Last week I did a little snafu. It looks like we're good there. So, welcome. This is where we get to go beyond the bucket and dive into the world of water fed cleaning, answer questions about our Tucker equipment, our businesses, our goals of helping you, the cleaners worldwide, get the job done faster, safer, and better. So, I'm Alex Brunner, your host, and with me today we have our guest, Ryan DeHoop with Pacific Solar Care. And if you see
What's
it,
going on,
he's
guys?
also, hey, Ryan, if you see there, he's also our Tucker Solar sales rep. So all your solar needs, you can get in touch with Ryan. So a few housekeeping things before our audience builds. Just a reminder, you can check out our previous episodes at our Facebook page, which is RHG-Tucker Pole Systems, and our YouTube channel at Tucker_USA. Sales reminders. We have on our website, tuckerusa.com. We still have the free Takaki Boab with the purchase of the Ultimate Residential Kit, which is at a great price at $2,799. And also check out, we have a few days left. Well, let's see. I'm already forgetting where we're at in the month, Ryan, but we have
Yeah,
15% markdown on our H2 Pros and our max outputs, which Ryan, you're a big fan of. Talk
huge
about that
fans.
later.
Yeah,
Welcome to episode number 22. Our title is From Plumbing to Panels, Ryan DeHoop's Solar Cleaning Success. Welcome aboard with us, Ryan.
thank you. It's a
Um,
pleasure.
Absolutely. Glad to have you. Really stoked about this episode that we get to learn more about you and your journey here. So, can you share a bit about yourself and how you got started in solar cleaning?
Yeah, definitely. So originally, I had been in the union for plumbing work. We were doing construction work and was doing the apprenticeship for that. And 3 year, going into year three of that apprenticeship, I had my dad approach me, and it was kind of different than how everyone might get into the service of solar panel cleaning. I didn't have a window cleaning service. I didn't have a business or anything like that. So my dad had just approached me and was looking for someone to clean his panels back in 2019. And said, he had trouble finding. He was calling numbers, and it was still very early at that point. So, solar panels were around, but it was definitely very early for cleaning and anything that nature. So I guess he knew the importance of it, or figured that they
Yeah.
needed to be cleaned, right? And yeah, he had a hard time finding someone. So he called me and said, "Hey, can you get over to our property and clean them?" Why not? No problem. Just helping my dad out, right?
Right.
And yeah, literally just a mop and a bucket of soap, and just started cleaning them up there. Didn't know what I was doing, just knew I had to get them cleaned, right? And yeah, at that point, literally, I can remember that day getting off the roof and going back home. And every house that I saw, we're in Southern California, so it was already really a popular place for solar. It was just dollar signs at that point. Every house that I saw was money, money, money. So
Yeah.
it's kind of how I got going. Yeah.
Nice. So, would you say was that like your aha moment where you realize this could be a full time thing, or how soon about that come up?
Yeah, yeah. So really, I just continued with the mop in the bucket. Didn't know what I was doing, and kind of just getting on Facebook. Really, kind of just the community next door. I think had kind of started getting up and running, and I think at that point, Chris Virgin from SPCF had reached out to me. He was local, about an hour from me, and he reached out. And I was doing, again, I had no experience in this industry, right? It was just a total side gig, making, I think I was doing like $50 a cleaning. Outrageous for anyone
Wow.
that knows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, there was no forms of groups. I was not in the business. I was doing union work, and so he's calling me and he's like, dude, I'm kind of hearing people are freaking out about your prices, at their cleaning. Yeah, but he was very welcoming, open arms, and said, "Hey, we got this group that is for the community and industry of cleaners, and wants you to get in there." Gave me some insight, and I think at that point, between realizing there was a community already established and knowing that there was mandates starting to come into effect for homes that had to have them, schools were coming, all of these establishments were being required to have it as a new place of business or operation. So that was, I think, really the aha moment when I knew it was something big.
Oh, very cool. So you
Yeah.
had the $99 guy scared off.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, right. And
Well, cool.
but at that point, yeah, at that point too, just to kind of finish off that, it didn't take long before I got into the community and was already purchasing the right equipment, pricing, and all that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and that's really cool about knowing about the community. It's like you had somebody there that's kind of watching out instead of just letting you write it out, and probably would have burnt yourself out at those prices, obviously without the right equipment, but giving you some guidance. That's awesome to hear.
yes, absolutely.
So, with that all said, how did you make that leap from I'm going to be a union plumber, plumbing job to running Pacific Solar Care full time?
Yeah, yeah, it was real interesting too because with the union, I was getting great pay. I mean, even great pay, great benefits, vacation packages, retirement pension, the whole nine yards, the whole thing that corporate America you want to get, right? You got all of your benefits taken care of, your family's taken care of. So it was a hard decision to kind of figure that out. And
Yeah.
really, it was just the support of my wife that was just kind of leading towards as the phone calls kept getting more and more during my regular work hours. And, just part of that too in my ethics was that when I was at the union, I enjoyed that. I was the right hand man for the foreman. I learned all my experience and everything. But I realized that as I was getting those phone calls during those jobs, it wasn't right for me. I didn't feel right. I wasn't being able to work my full capacity with them. I'm taken away from them. I felt
Yeah.
guilt with that too, right? So, yeah, it just was to a point where that phone was ringing almost 2 to 3 times, 3 to 4 times a day. I'm trying to hide in a porta potty, like, hey, how's it going? Still not knowing where to go. And I just finally asked my wife, I said, hey, I think this could be something now. We finally have sat for a year doing this. What do you think? And she just gave me the full support. She had her, full-time job, and she said, go for it. And the big thing is I still had the union to tell me to come back if I could. I had a year to come back if I wanted to. So I did
Yeah.
have a little bit of a security blanket, but never batted an eye after that. Left and went.
Oh, nice. That's
Yeah.
really cool for as a previous business owner, having a supportive wife is huge. So that's good to hear, and
Right.
I like that. Well, you might have had a security blanket. You didn't really rely on that. You went full force. That's awesome to hear. Hey, we got
Yep.
some people chiming in here. We got Manny, our good friend out of
Hey.
Puerto Rico.
Yep.
If you don't
What's
know
up, man?
him, he is awesome guy out of there, doing some amazing things in solar panel cleaning field. He's
Yep.
also a Tucker dealer in Puerto Rico. So if you're in Puerto Rico, hit up Manny.
Shout out to
Also, we
Manny.
got Teddy over there on YouTube. Just said he just purchased and received my water fed system from Tucker. Can't wait to start. Let us know what you got and where you're
Yeah.
at and what you up to. Right on.
Congrats.
We got Daniel over on Instagram. He's got some questions. We really have a in-depth show here with Ryan. A lot of questions to go through. So I'm gonna highlight or look at your write down your question here, and if we don't have time to cover it, we'll definitely be covering it in an upcoming episode, Daniel. So let me just jot this down.
And if it's solar related, you can reach out to me too.
That's right. It's regarding winterizing filters last
Hmm.
fall. Why are they working in the spring? It just depends on your location, but we can definitely highlight that. Um, in a future episode. But that's good to hear that you didn't winterize, but they are working. It just depends. I got guys that unfortunately didn't do it, and they had to get all new filters. Just really depends on bacteria buildup. If it freezes, things of that nature. But definitely, Daniel, will get that covered in another episode. All right, let's get back into it. So, next question for you, Ryan.
Yeah.
What were some of the biggest challenges you faced early on?
I think it was the business part, like the whole external, or sorry, behind the scenes, I should say. I'm very hands-on. I'm very, with just plumbing and welding experience, I was able to just get out in the field and make that stuff happen. But as I think a lot of us understand or start to realize is the whole internal scheme of things is much more than we realize. It takes, and that's just the thing with buying a piece of equipment and thinking you're all good to go. It's simply not the case. When I was out in the field, everything from accounting, taxes, bylaws, ordinances, all of that was kind of sitting on the back burner. So, I think after I started getting some momentum year 2 and 3, that's where I got in trouble with taxes and accounting and kind of had the back taxes. I'm pulling
Yeah.
salaries for myself, not taxed. So, yeah, I would say that's the biggest thing for kind of the early on stages. However, years 4 and 5, the last couple of years was the rainy seasons where that actually really took our biggest tolls that we've had. Um,
Mm.
that was our biggest challenge. It was the slowest part of our business. I had to actually get to a point where I was, driving around for Uber and Lyft, just making ends meet for the family, because we had a string of months where we always had rain, constant rain, and Southern California is not used to that.
Yeah.
So that was definitely an issue. It was, hardest part of my life. Well, I mean, one of my biggest obstacles in my life too. But I just kept planting seeds. I knew that at that point I reinvested into myself. I went down a path with God and just kind of like just spiritually, personally developed myself, planting seeds with the business. I didn't stop. And I think that's where a lot of people would have their breaking point, right? Is when you just feel like you can't go nowhere anymore. You just want to give it up. And I was definitely at that point. Many people know that I had reached out and I was ready to give this business up, which was after, having a $200,000 year and then coming, not bad for a 2 or 3 year business, and then just totally tanking in February of those years. So
Yeah.
that definitely.
I yeah, you definitely can as a business owner, you do have your ups and you can have a lot of downs too. Outside of those environmental issues that you might run into, but I'm glad to hear that you pushed through. I remember when we had our business, I was fortunate enough to buy a business and be able to grow it in the 5 years that I owned it. But I hit ceilings and it was tough. And at that point, I was at a place where I guess I'll sell it. Do I have regrets? Yeah, but I've gotten some learning experience from it too. But love
Yeah.
that you didn't let those things slow you down or scare you off. So it's great to hear.
Right. And it was kind of a thing too where, like I said, the first 3 years of business were great. I never had
Mhm.
any of those challenges, no rain. So you're thinking,
Yeah,
wow, this is cool, this is great. And then year 4, it was kind of a real awakening because I
yeah,
thought I already was successful enough, and then it was like, whoa, this is
yeah,
it right here. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And I think that's about the time frame where people say that typically business owners will go out 4 or 5 years, and
Made
that's where
total sense.
yeah, I was there, doing well, and then year 5 is my thing was employee thing, but uh, you know, uh, hindsight's 2020. I wish I would have stuck it
Yep.
through, but uh, otherwise everything turned out for the best.
We're
Let's
here
go
now.
back to yeah, exactly. You mentioned that you hustled on the weekends and after work. So, what was your strategy for getting your first customers? How'd you go
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
that? Other than your dad.
Yeah, right, right. I would actually say that 90%, I'd almost say 90% of my first sales were through Facebook local groups. Um, Back in 2020, that's when those local groups were really starting to establish. They were still new. You had your, local cities that were creating the buy, sell, trade groups and everything. and it wasn't really flooded like it is now. Unfortunately, all those groups are pretty diluted with any kind of service, exterior service or whatever. But yeah, it was a good time for that, where I would just post 2 to 3 times a week in a local community group. And again, being $50 jobs, I was getting quite a bit of business. But one thing I always look back on how I learned from my experiences and everything like that. I don't take that back at all, because the amount of jobs and experience that I gained, I mean, I might have done 200 jobs at that $50 rate, right? So that was 200 jobs that I had under my belt in the matter of a few months, where most people might not get that kind of hands-on experience. So that it's definitely paved a way for me too.
Yeah. Those are you're paying for your education, so it's
Yeah,
a good deal.
exactly.
Teddy's
Yeah.
Teddy's chiming in. He said he got the Ultimate Residential Kit. He's from Sacramento, California. Got it for solar. I see a lot of them, and not a lot of people cleaning them around there. So, um, Teddy, if you got questions regarding solar, definitely hit up Ryan.
Yeah.
We'll we'll at the end of the show we'll ask for how can somebody reach out to you.
Cool.
Um,
Sounds good.
Got Sean. Sean, what's up, everybody? Glad to see that Sean is watching along with us.
Yeah. What's up, Sean? Appreciate you.
All right. So, how did you decide when it was the right time to hire employees and scale up?
I was trying to like really think about that, because I don't. It was crazy for those first 4 or 5, or the first 4 years. I was just in grind mode on my own terms, So I was out in the field. I was doing 8 jobs a day, and I was fortunate enough to already have my sister and best friend who were kind of just there from the beginning. So, between them two, or between us three, it didn't take, it took a while for me to get to that point, because I was so fixated. I'm a guy that once I get fixated onto something, I'm just going to keep on going. So
Yeah.
that's good for, I mean, it's, yeah, better. It's, good and bad. But so I didn't have any aspirations or really goals for this. Like, again, the way this kind of popped up onto my plate, I wasn't sitting here thinking, okay, I want to hit this budget, or I mean, this revenue goal. I want to hit amount of crews. Um, but so up until last year, I would say that's when I kind of started getting into the mentality of wanting to open up my free time again. This whole reason why I did this too was for my family. Commuting 100 miles every day round trip on the grind 5 days a week wasn't cutting it. But I was already getting to that point where I'm doing that with my solar business, right? You
Yeah.
kind of lose focus. Yeah. So I last year, after, having some struggles with personal things and trying to figure out, like I said, reinvesting into myself spiritually and personally, I decided that I needed to get back into that groove, getting back from my family, really focusing on that time. So, about last year, I started getting into the coaching and figuring out that CEO mindset.
Cool. Very cool to hear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, Looks like we're at 3:51 our time, 2:51 your times. So time is quickly going. So
Jeez.
I'll might skip around on some of these questions, but
Sure.
you talked about the beginning, how you started up with just the basic tools. So now your company uses advanced equipment. So if you haven't followed Ryan on Facebook, his personal Facebook or what's your groups? Just throw that out there.
Yeah.
What's your Facebook group?
Yeah. So we're focusing on Solar Cleaners Network with Cam Verdisk. Yeah, and that's just been a great group that you can follow us with, and you can get all of the tips, industry things that you need.
Cool. So, all right, you went from the basics. Now you have advanced equipment like solar cleaning robots. You got your custom rigs. How have these tools really changed the way you worked?
Mainly just efficiently and safely. Those are the big things. Yeah. I went the route of trying to do a system of 4,000 panels manually,
Mm.
and that wasn't fun. I mean, sure, it can be done, but it wasn't fun. It wasn't efficient. It wasn't good on my guys. And so, yeah, in that part, it's just all about efficiency, the content. These robots itself nowadays can bring its own content and drive sales that way too. So, it's just the amount of time that we can save on these jobs. From having 3 to 4 guys on one site, we can have almost 1 to 2 guys doing the same amount of work.
Oh, wow. Uh,
Yeah.
in the video you posted earlier, you talked about the system that really operates those robots. Can you talk about a little bit about how the max output has helped out with your equipment?
Yeah, yeah, the max output has been amazing just because not only are we able to do a lot of these larger projects with more of that pure water, for extended periods of times, but just the amount of water that we can get from this thing and out and literally output towards it. It can handle both robots. We've actually just did that a couple months ago where we did a project of 4,000 panels. We ran 2 of our Solar Clino robots, had no issues supplying both robots at one time, 6 to 8 hours a day.
Wow, that's amazing. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I think we did them. I think we finished that site in 2 days, just to kind of 4,000 pounds.
Wow,
Yeah,
that is really amazing.
yeah,
Uh, so going back with Kim V, I like to just call him Kim V because I don't think anybody can really
yeah.
pronounce his
I
last name.
butchered it. I butchered that.
So, along with your solar panel cleaning group, the solar panel cleaning contractors, and the solar cleaners networks, what is your vision? Just touch again on that. You mentioned a little bit with Kim's, but with these communities.
Yeah. Yeah, in general, I just want to keep doing what these people offered me at the beginning. Just like Chris Virgin offers now and still does. I just wanted to continue that. I felt like that was a huge thing in my life or my business to help me, and I wanted to continue that moving forward. Just sharing our journey, our tips, and having a place where we can all get together and act as a community. Because it's really everyone tends to be a competitor, and you lose sight of that, fighting against each other for those sales, but it's really
Yeah,
being about working as a tribe.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's great to see community in the window cleaning world, and it sounds like the same thing as solar panels. There's more solar panels, more windows than cleaners. So why attack each other? Why not help build each other up and support the community? Absolutely.
Yep. And I've honestly, just to real quick go off of that, I've had jobs where those cleaners couldn't do them, right? Because I had the
Mhm.
means to help them. And so you end up getting jobs from them. Networking is
Yeah,
so crucial where you think it's like, I can't get a benefit from this, but it absolutely can.
absolutely. I remember networking a couple times, and it worked out well. Where I ended up doing a lot of subcontracting work for somebody that couldn't handle it. I even had
Exactly.
one owner he decided to retire, and he didn't sell it. He just like, hey,
Hmm.
call him. He's the
Hmm.
best in the area. So that was huge, and he even gave me his business line. So I was
Yeah,
just
there
blown
you
away
go.
by it. He just wanted to know that there's somebody he could trust with it. So you never know what can
Right.
happen with it.
Yep.
So what does it mean to you to be named an ambassador for multiple companies, and then also being nominated for Solar Cleaner of the Year by SPCF?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously amazing. It's great to be able to stand behind these products that I already use and fully support. So to have the privilege of being able to continue, supporting them in a different way is just been amazing. Um, and even with the Cleaner of the Year, I like to show off my success so that others can see it instead of seeing it as a way to brag about what I bought, and so that's kind of how I feel. If even like the Solar Cleaner of the Year, to me, it just feels like I'm doing something right. I'm doing something right with the community. I'm doing something right with my business. Other people see that, and it just continues to make me moving forward with my own personal choices and everything else like that.
Cool, very cool.
Yeah.
Um, you mentioned in past conversations, stepping out of your truck, and we want to get into that full CEO role. So what steps are you taking to make it happen?
Yeah, the big thing is just coaching and kind of relying on others to really to help me move forward. At one point you think you can do it all, and you know that I used to think coaching was no big deal. What do I need a coach for? I can handle it all myself, right? But even just through my spiritual journeys and everything, a mentor needs a mentor, a pastor needs a pastor, a coach needs a coach.
Yeah.
So you can always learn from stuff, and that's when I finally decided that I needed the help. I couldn't figure out the back end stuff. I couldn't figure out the accounting, and of course I could do it, but at what value of time? And time, time is of
Right.
the essence. So I figured that if I can find someone like David Mormon and his coaching service that has everything that someone's already done, why not just
Yeah.
implement it into my system and move forward? Yeah. So
Awesome.
that's really what helped me.
That's good to hear. It's the second time I've heard. Well, I've heard that name around in the industry for quite a long time.
Yeah.
But you're using them. Jamie, our other sales rep, he's also part of that. So that's cool to
Yeah.
hear. Um, let's see. I want to make sure. I know you got family, so I don't want to keep you too
Oh,
long.
I'm
So
good. I just want to shoot. I'm fine. I don't know what your time restraints are, so
all right,
go
sounds
away.
good. All right. So, what bit of advice can you give someone who is looking to start or grow a solar panel cleaning business, like our good friend Teddy here?
Yeah, there you go. You know, it, it's really just not about, the systems are great, but just make sure that you're really educating yourself into what you're going into, right? I mean, what you're getting into. And like I said, just the challenges of business and everything like that. You got to understand that it is much more than just getting that piece of equipment, because we all do it. We all see everyone succeeding, and okay, what does it take? It takes equipment. And we get into that. And what I feel is people get down on themselves, and that's where you see 2 or 3 months or 6 months down the line, these pieces of equipment are being sold. It's just because they didn't quite understand what they were getting into. And so that's really what it comes down to, is just, and for me, it's just always finding something that you can improve in your business every day. I don't care if it's t-shirts, I don't care if it's your personal development, I don't care if it's, we just reinvested into our website. My website was probably, if 9 out of 10 people would have saw it, they would have loved it. Well, it wasn't. It's 2 years old for me. 2 years too old. So it's just a continuous reinvestments, door hangers, and the list goes on. And if you feel like something is great, well, it could be better. So it's just a continuous will of reinvesting into your companies is how I feel it can happen.
Yeah, keep growing for sure.
Keep
Uh,
going.
any well, first I want to get this. Where can people follow you? Know more about your business, your actual business, your Facebook groups, and how can they get in contact with you if they want to know more about solar and solar equipment like our Tucker equipment?
Yeah, so right now, I'm pretty much on all platforms. If you just search my name, Ryan DeHoop, that's on here now, and my company, Pacific Solar Care, you'll be able to find me one way or the other. We are on Instagram, Pacific Solar Care, and Ryan DeHoop. I'm on Facebook. We do have our Solar Cleaners Network group that you can join on Facebook as well. Solar Panel Cleaners Contractors. Any of the platforms, if you just search my name or the company, you can definitely find me and reach out to me.
Absolutely. And if you're interested in Tucker products and you call our main line, which is 303-663-1779, we can definitely connect you with Ryan and help you get those questions answered. Because we want to make sure you have the latest information on solar cleaning, and we connect you with our expert, Ryan.
Yep.
So any final words of wisdom for our listeners today?
Yeah, yeah. I was just telling my sister this, and I thought it was a great ending to this podcast. Is stay uncomfortable until you get comfortable. That's what it is. Because even right now at this podcast, this wasn't something that I felt I was comfortable doing. It was uncomfortable, and that's exactly why I pushed into it. You lean into those things, because the
Absolutely.
moment you start to get stagnant and think everything's okay, or that you're in that comfort zone, that means you've got a problem, or
Yeah.
something that you can expand on. So yeah, and that's with everything. Like I said, health, personal life, business, everything can go better if you just get into those things, whatever fears you have, whether it's door knocking, sales, all of that, speaking in front of people. The reason why I do a lot of this is to help my own, like to help me with my sales, to help me get in front of people. So yep, just keep, my old motto, and I had a sticker on my plumbing hard hat was make shit happen. just do it, man. You know, I'm sorry, excuse my language, but
Yeah.
if you're gonna figure it out, or if you find a way, you're gonna get it done. And just like I had my challenges when I got down, last year was a struggle for me. Like I said, I wanted to give up on everything life and everything related, but I didn't, and I just kept on pushing.
Right on. Yeah, just get it
Yeah,
done.
man, just
Be
get it done.
comfortable. Be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Absolutely. Good words of wisdom there. All
There you
right.
go.
So thanks a lot for joining us. Just a reminder, if
Yeah,
you're just catching in or catching up with our live episode today, this will be on our Facebook group, which is RHG Tucker Pole Systems, and at YouTube at Tucker _ USA. So you'll get to catch up with our previous 21 episodes along with this great one today. And just a reminder, we still have some great sales on our max output system, our H2 Pro, our 110 volt electric system pumps, our Ultimate Residential Kit that our good friend Teddy had just recently purchased is at a great price at $2,799. So once again, thank you all for your time. We appreciate it, and we'll catch you next time.
have a good one.